The purpose of this video is to help us with adding and subtracting real numbers. Real numbers are pretty much any number from negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. Anything that you can write down is considered a real number as long as it's not imaginary. But since we're not talking about imaginary numbers, we're not going to deal with them. So you've been adding and subtracting real numbers most of your lives, more than likely. So this is addition of real numbers. 5 plus 4, we get 9. Or 5 minus 4, we get negative 1. The issue with adding and subtracting numbers, or real numbers I should say, comes in when we start dealing with negative numbers. That can cause a little bit of confusion for some students. So we're going to spend a little time and show a couple different methods on how to add and subtract with real numbers that are going to include negative numbers. So let's get going. The first way I'm going to show you on how to add or subtract real numbers is using a number line. With a number line, there's a couple things we need to make sure that we are paying attention to. One, we need to make sure we know where we're starting. And here we're starting at negative 3. So I'm going to put a dot at negative 3. The second thing we need to pay attention to is whether or not we are adding or subtracting. If we are adding, means we are going to move to the right on our number line. Now this could change, but for the time being, we're going to move to the right. And if we are subtracting, we're going to move to the left. So I have my negative 3 to start off with, and I am adding 6. So I'm going to move to the right 6 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I ended up at positive 3. So negative 3 plus 6 is going to give us positive 3. Let's try with a different example. For our second example, we have negative 2 minus 4. So, just like before, where are we starting? At negative 2. Let's put a dot there. Our operation is subtraction, and we said subtraction means we go to the left. So we know we're going to be going to the left from negative 2. And we're going to go to the left 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we end up at negative 6. So there we have it. Now we've done subtraction. Where it can get a little confusing is when we have something like this. Let's say I have negative 2 plus a negative 1. If I have my number line, I'm going to have a little bit of conflicting information here. So let's get our negative 1 and our negative 2, and our 1 and our 2 there. We still start at negative 2. The addition makes us think we want to move to the right. But here's the problem. We have a negative over here. And since this is a negative, it actually causes this sign to flip. So it's actually going to make us go to the left instead. So negative 2 plus negative 1, we're going to have to move 1 jump to the left. Sorry, that should be a 3. And our answer will be negative 3. So number lines are great for these, but as I just showed in this example, sometimes they can cause a little bit of confusion. Let's look at our second way of doing this. If we're not going to use our number line, we need to pay attention to the signs of our numbers. Mainly, are they positive or are they negative? If the signs of both numbers are the same, it's actually pretty easy. This is what we're used to. 3 plus 5, both of them are positive numbers. So 3 plus 5 gives me 8. There's my answer. Here I have negative 6, and I'm adding a negative 2. I'm adding them, and they both are negative. So what I can do is I can take the 6 and 2 and add them together to get 8. But since they were both negative to begin with, our answer turns out to be negative 8. If they have different signs, let's say we have negative 3 plus 5, well, there's an easy way to do this too. I'm going to give myself some new space here. So I got negative 3 plus 5. When the signs are different, what we want to do is subtract the bigger number away from the smaller number. Or sorry, I said that wrong. We should subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. So I'm going to change this to 5 minus 3. Well, what's 5 minus 3? It's 2. But let's say we have 16, negative 16, plus 3. We're going to ignore the negative at first and just deal with 16 and 3. So 16 minus 3 is 13. Now, if the bigger number was negative, this is going to be negative as well. So since it was negative 16, we get a negative 13 as our answer. Let's try another example because I'm afraid that that wasn't as clear as I would have liked it to be. So let's try a couple more. Here we have negative 8 plus 12. Ignoring the negative signs, since they're different signs, this is negative and this is positive, which number is bigger, 8 or 12? 12 is bigger than 8, so we're going to subtract 12 minus 8. That's going to give us 4. Since 12 was the bigger number, this 4 is going to take 12's sign, meaning it is a positive 4. So our answer is just 4. Okay, and now let's do one more that's the other way. Here I have, for our final example, 8 minus 15. Now, since it is minus 15, I could rewrite this as 8 plus a negative 15. It's up to you whether or not you want to do that. Whenever you have the subtraction, you could always change it to being the addition of a negative. Since I have this over here, they have different signs. 8 is positive, 15 is negative, but we're going to ignore those, and which one is bigger, 8 or 15? 15 is bigger. So I'm going to do 15 minus 8, which gives me 7. And since the negative number was bigger, the 7 becomes negative. And there you have it. We went over ways to subtract and add real numbers using number lines and using a different method as well. Hopefully you find this helpful, and good luck.